I got interested in the blues through Rory Gallagher. I would have heard his records, and then he would have, either from looking at him, realizing this is a Muddy Waters song or John Lee Hooker song, or he would say it in concert. And of course then, because I was very into Rory, I was interested in what influenced him, and then I would go off and check out these old blues records, and something about it, just the pain of it or the truth of it, somehow struck me, and for a little Irish white boy, but
Well, the first time I really heard any blues was when I was, I guess, about 6 or 7 years old. And there was a guy who had a picnic across the road from my house, and they would play, all weekend. They'd start on Fridays and go till, Monday morning, and a lot of the fife and drum band stuff, and then guitar players too.
God, it sounds really corny, but I was kind of born into it, South Mississippi. I didn't really recognize it as the word blues. You just played music, And all the bands from where I grew up in Mississippi played everything. They played blues, country music, all kind of stuff. Anything you wanted to play was fair game,
And actually, I had a friend that was, he's about 8 or 10 years older than me, but he lived with us when I was, I think, 5 years old. 5 and 6, yeah. And we used to sneak out into my mom's car and turn, back then you didn't have to have a key to turn the ignition so you could turn the radio on. And I didn't even remember this, but he told me that we'd get out there and we'd turn the radio on, lay down in the seats, and nobody know we were out there. And we had the radio listening to the blues station out of Nashville, I think. So they were playing all that Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf stuff.
As far as I could remember back, I remember me being 5 years old, first picking up the guitar and learning how to teach myself how to play blues. I was at the age of 5 years old. I was a youngster, and matter of fact, I was on the west side of Chicago at my father's house, and at that particular time, he had a rehearsal with his band, and he had a guitar laying around the house there, and I happened to be at the rehearsal. So I liked the music so much, I decided I'd go pick up the guitar and try to figure out could I do what the guitar player in my dad's band was doing, and I kind of caught on to it, and ever since then I've been playing ever since.
There was a sort of specific moment really when I was 13 that I'd been playing classical guitar, and had sort of loved playing guitar but wasn't at home in that sort of genre and the discipline involved, and that sort of lack of freedom to an extent, and was looking for a new direction. And I saw a Steve Ray Vaughan video, which was about as far removed from what I'd been learning as is humanly possible. And from that moment on, it was very much okay, that's what I'm going to do.
And as soon as I heard Jimi Hendrix play a song that is a blues song, it's called Red House. That's when I got into the blues. I heard that song, and my dad heard it, and I just fell in love with that song and everything that it was about. I learned the word down perfectly, learned how to play it perfectly, and that's when I really got heavy into the blues.
Well, for me, at first, I just enjoyed doing solos. I just kind of picked up the guitar, and I was rubbish at everything at school, and I couldn't do anything. And I finally had something I could enjoy, and I just was playing solos and just making a lot of loud noises at first. And blues music kind of came into it from Jimi Hendrix, because people said Jimi Hendrix loved the blues, so listen to this guy. And as I said, Stevie Ray Vaughan is the next guy I was told to listen to, and Albert King and Freddie King. They kind of went further down the line of who influenced who. And that was kind of a small influence to me, but it never really made clear sense to me what the music was about or what they were singing about, and I never really paid attention to it fully until I went to America and I had this band kind of saying, well, listen to this song. And actually I had a very touching moment when I was in America with a blues lady called Miss Blues, and she sang Stormy Monday, and she sang a couple of the verses, and then she explained the real meaning of the song. Well, her interpretation of the meaning, and it was all about the slave work and the cotton picking and all the horrible stuff that went on. And she just talked about that, and in the last verse she she was crying her eyes out, screaming these words out, and the whole audience, you know, there were several thousand people there just staring in awe. And when she finished, no one clapped, no one knew what to do. And it just, you know, it gives me shivers now. It just was a phenomenal moment of blues music, and ever since I heard that, you know, I don't cover that song. Ever since that, I've just always had a passion for blues music. Like, that was just it for me. That's when I knew this is the music for me.